Okay, Mr. Spina, we're going to do our figurative language homework.
Oh,
This is going to be done just like the math. I'm going to read the question. We're going to pause, and then Mr. Spina will explain to you why it's the answer. So you're going to have to enter these into Canvas. So make sure you get out a piece of paper and jot down these answers as we go through it. But make sure you pause it and you think about the answer, or else you get nothing out of this. All right, Mr. Spina, here we go. You ready?
yeah.
Number one says select the phrase that best completes the sentence. A simile is blank. I'm going to make this a little bigger. Everybody pause, get out your study guide book, and see if you can figure out what the answer is. Pause the video now. Okay, Mr. Spina, go ahead and tell us what you think about this one.
All right. I'm looking. I know simile has like or as. And the only choice that I see here is B, that has like or as in it. So that's a giveaway B.
Remember, it does compare two things, but if you don't see like or as, it is not a simile. A is the only one. And C compares two things. It's got to have the like or as in it, or it's not going to work.
No, it's
D, Mr. Spina,
okay.
D is personification, comparing like things. All right. Here's this passage we have to read. Here we go. Under the snow white coverlet upon a snow white pillow lay the most beautiful girl that Tom had ever seen. Her cheeks were very white, and her hair was like threads of gold spread all over her pillow. So the question, Mr. Spina, for you is, select the phrase that best completes the sentence. The second sentence is an example of a metaphor, personification, a detailed sentence, or a simile. Remember, make sure you look at the second sentence, pause the video, and get your answer. All right, Mr. Spina, what do you think?
I think when I read it, her cheeks were very white and her hair was like threads of gold spread all over a pillow. Like tells me it's a simile.
And you would be correct.
Well, that's famous for that's a gimme. Give me a harder one. Go to the next.
Okay. Here we go. Here we go. My daddy is a tiger. My mother is a bear. My sister is a pest who messes with my hair. And even though my home is like living in a zoo, I know my family loves me and will take care of me too. So, Mr. Spina, the first question they're going to answer, number 3, and we want to know how many similes are in the poem. I'm going to make this bigger before we pause so you guys can see. Figure out how many similes. It's either 1, 2, 3, or 4. Count the similes. Pause the video now. Okay, Mr. Spina, how many similes do you see in?
I go through that. I'm looking for the words like or as, and the first, second, and third line do not have that. But when I look at it, I keep going. I see, and even though my home is like living in a zoo, there's the word like, and that's the only time I see like or as, so I say 1.
You're totally correct.
Yeah, the rest
All
are
right.
metaphors.
Now we're going to use this same poem for number 4, and now it wants us to figure out how many metaphors are in the poem. So everybody pause and figure out how many metaphors there are. All right, Mr. Spina, go ahead for number 4. How many metaphors did you get?
Okay, so I'm looking when comparing one to another, and I'm looking for actually like people or animals or something. So my daddy is a tiger would be 1. My mother is a bear would be 2. My sister's a pest would be 3. And then that's all I see, because the other one that I see, the comparison with a home living in a zoo, those are both homes. Do you agree with that, Mr. Conklin?
Yeah, you got to remember, for it to be a metaphor, they got to be like totally crazy, like they don't make sense. But a home is the home for her, and a zoo is the home for animals. So they're both homes. So you can't count that one. So you guys should have got C
3
for number 4. Make sure you're jotting these down as we go. All right, moving right along. An example of a simile in this poem would be A, my mother is a bear. B, my father is a tiger. C, my sister is a pest. Or D, my home is like living in a zoo. Pause the video. All right, Mr. Spina, what do you think about number 5?
Well, like I said, we just did this one. I need a like or an as. So the only one
it's a simile.
Simile, like or as. That's a gimme.
You guys should easily, if you're not getting that now, make sure you should have your booklet open, looking back at these words if you're not sure. All right, Number 6, this simile compares what two objects? A cloud floats like a feather in the sky. Pause the video and tell us which one of these is the simile that compares the objects in that sentence. All right, Mr. Spina, tell us what you came up with.
Okay, so here I'm looking at a cloud, and it's floating like a feather. So the cloud is being compared to the feather. That's exactly what I think.
So this would take us down.
Cloud and a feather would be B.
Definitely, 100% correct. Okay, make sure you're jotting notes. If you're confused about any of these, send us an email and let us know. All right. Which of the following is another appropriate simile? Appropriate means it makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, pause it. All right, Mr. Spina, what are you thinking? I'll just ask you some questions, Mr. Spina. Does a cloud floating like a rock in water?
Oh, clouds float and rocks sink. That doesn't work.
That doesn't make sense because the rock would sink. What about a cloud floating like a bird in the sky?
No, because clouds float and birds fly, which is different.
Yeah, when you see birds in the sky, aren't they moving real fast?
That's
Clouds move like this.
Yeah, that doesn't work. Cross that out.
What about clouds floating like a leaf in the wind?
Yes, because clouds are very slow and leaves are very slow in the air. I'm picking C. I like that answer.
I'm gonna check this one. Let's do everybody a favor on these. Let's check D and make sure it doesn't make sense first.
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna go D.
A cloud floats like a cotton ball in a jar.
Cotton balls don't move. So that's not going to work. If it's floating, it's moving.
And if a cotton ball's in a jar, you're right. It's not even moving. So C is definitely the answer there. All right, here we go. Let's keep it going. Number 8, my daddy is a tiger. My mother is a bear. My sister is a pest who messes with my hair. What would be another similar metaphor for the author's sister? It's got to be similar and a metaphor. Pause the video. All right, Mr. Spina, walk us through this one.
Okay, so right away, if it's a metaphor, it can't have like or as in it. So I'm going to get rid of D, because D is my sister is like a bug. That's a simile. So that takes me 3 choices. Now, I'm going to also get rid of B because I got like in it again. So I'm getting rid of B and D. So now I have to decide whether it's my sister is a bug or my sister is annoying. You're comparing one thing to another. Here, you're comparing your sister to a bug. That would make sense. Your sister could be a roach. So I would think it could be A, but I'm going to look at C. My sister is annoying. No, I'm not comparing her to it. I'm saying she is annoying. So that literally can be annoying. So C is out. I am picking A.
You would be correct. Remember, you've got to compare it to a thing, right? Annoying is what somebody is to you, but annoying is not a thing.
She could be annoying.
She could be annoying, so don't let. And you're gonna think pest. You're gonna think pest and annoying, but remember, when you see metaphor, you have to be compared to like something. You can't hold annoying in your hand, right?
That's right. Annoying. She could be annoying.
All right, Mr. Spina. The trapeze artist in the circus was amazing. He leapt effortlessly through the air and landed on his feet so smoothly. All I can say is that he is a cat. The expression "he is a cat" is a metaphor, simile, idiom, or proverb. Pause the video. All right, Mr. Spina, give us what you think on this one.
Now, he is a cat. So you're comparing him to a cat, which would be a metaphor because there's no like in there. So that doesn't work at all. It has to be a metaphor in there.
100%. All right, let's keep going. My mother is very particular about giving me healthy food. I only eat French fries once in a blue moon. The expression "once in a blue moon" is an example of an idiom, a simile, a metaphor, or none of the above.
Okay, we didn't cover this one.
We didn't, so we're not going to have you guys pause here because
tell them what it is.
Tell you. Go ahead.
So I think, Wisconsin, if I'm not mistaken, "once in a blue moon" is an idiom because here you're comparing something that's unrealistic. So go ahead, and what is an actual idiom?
An idiom is something that you shouldn't take seriously.
That's right. It's unrealistic. I mean, it's not serious.
So we did not cover that one, and we just saw this on here. But I will tell you, Mr. Spina, you might get D because none of the above if you weren't sure. But you guys should be able to "once in a blue moon." that doesn't make a comparison, and it doesn't make a comparison using like or as, right?
Right.
So you should have been down to A or D, but it will be A. Make sure you get A for number 10.
We'll talk
And
more about that.
number 11 says, read each sentence and match it to the correct figure of speech. So I'm going to read the first one, and then you can pause the video. You know when to pause before Mr. Spina explains. So Mr. Spina, 11A says, the sea glittered like diamonds under the harsh sun rays. Pause. All right, Mr. Spina, what do you think?
Oh, there's that word like again. When comparing, it has to be a simile.
Correct. 11B says, the spoon ran away to find a better home. Pause. All right, Mr. Spina, go ahead. What do you think?
Spoons aren't human. That's personification.
Correctamundo. 11C, the pillow was as soft as cotton. Pause. All right, Mr. Spina, what do you think?
Like or as. There's as, comparing the pillow to the softness, and we're going to go ahead and use that simile there.
And 11D, the biscuit was a paperweight. Pause. All right, Mr. Spina, talk to us about this one.
No like or as. Comparing there, that's a metaphor.
Yeah, even if that one got you confused, you know like or as, so it eliminates simile, and it's not turning an object into a person, so you would be good. All right, make sure you get your answers, copy down, and go to your Canvas tile and enter them so that you can get your points, and we will talk to you
I had a
guys.
good time, Ms. Conklin. Thank you.
All right, see you later. Peace out. Peace.